Radio check, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hello, hello, and welcome along to the stream. We should be live and you guys should be able to hear me as well, so do let me know if everything is working as expected. But yeah, we are 30 minutes away from the start of Free Practice 1 here in the Circuit of the Americas. We've got a sprint weekend up ahead for us, so we're going to have a sprint quali in 4 hours and 30 minutes time, and then of course we'll have the sprint race tomorrow as well. So yeah, hello everyone. All right. Looks like you can hear me. Looks like my mic is working nicely. I actually did get quite a few messages about people asking me why I hold my mic, and how I should just get like a mic arm or something. But no, I probably could get a mic arm, but I quite like just holding it. It feels pretty cool, like holding a microphone seems very professional, even though it probably isn't. But yeah, so we have got quite the exciting weekend lined up for us because, well, COTA, what a brilliant circuit this is. So many different overtaking opportunities, and the battles that we've had here throughout the years is really, really good. Max Verstappen in 2024, we had the big battle with Kimi Räikkönen in 2018. There's been a lot of battles, so yeah. All right. Didn't know F1 Gamer was one Pablo Montoya all along. Yeah, maybe I am. Yeah. All right. Currently up on the screen, we've got the 2024 data. We'll get the 25 data loading up very, very shortly. Right. Why are you wearing a green hoodie? Because I like the color green. No, I am from India, actually. How do you fix the hand gestures with the camera? No, I've still got it on actually, I think, but I think it's quite funny. Occasionally, at some point, it's going to zoom in randomly, but I figured out how to turn it off. So, if I personally start finding it too annoying, I'll just turn it off again. But it's all right for now. All right, so we have had quite a few special liveries as well, actually, this weekend. But no special livery for Red Bull. Red Bull announced, well, they fake announced their special livery, and it was just the exact same as their normal one. But yeah, good to see some special liveries here, and a few other things that we do have to mention. Of course, the championship standings: 22 points between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and the big thing that came out in the news, I'd say probably this morning, was that Lando Norris is going to be facing some sort of repercussions for his actions at Singapore. I don't really know what his I don't really know what that is, what those repercussions are going to be. When the press asked Lando Norris what the repercussions were, when they asked Oscar Piastri, when they asked, I think, Zach Brown, they all gave very vague answers. They were like, oh yes, we have a racing framework and we have a set of rules that we follow, and the repercussions are in line with the rules that we have made up ourselves. So it was a lot of sort of PR talk from the McLaren team where, yeah, they really weren't committing to much to sort of say what they did, what they didn't do. And yeah, we'll see what the repercussions are. I personally, if you ask me what I think the repercussions are going to be, is probably going to be Lando Norris will have to give Piastri a tow for the next two races, or maybe just sprint quali this weekend and also the actual qualifying as well. Because Lando Norris, it was sort of agreed that Lando Norris was at fault. He shouldn't have done that, crash into his teammate. So as a fair thing, they are going to give Oscar Piastri a bit of a tow down the back straight. I think that's what it's going to be, but to be honest, this is just sort of my guess. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think will Lando Norris get as his repercussions? Will it just be a very mean telling off from Zach Brown, or will it be swap a position around in the race, or what do you think it is going to be? When will quali start? You can see there at the top right of the screen. Well, yeah, if you look right to the top of the screen, it's there at 4 hours and 24 minutes. That's when we have qualifying. Okay. You think papaya rules should get thrown out the window, let them race? Yes, I definitely do. With 5 races left of the season, you might as well just let them race now. You've already won the Constructors' Championship, so, any sort of argument that you had for like, oh no, we're doing this for the team, we want the team to win, that's gone out the window now because McLaren have won the Constructors. They've got all the prize money that they had available to them, so now it is purely just a task of getting one of the 2 drivers to win the championship. Which one will it be? Well, I'd love to see a battle for it. That's what I'm going to say. F1 Game, have you decided where you're going to put your camera on the screen? I think I'm going to keep it for now here. Maybe I'll probably make it a little bit smaller once the session begins and we get sort of the team radios coming through on this side of the screen and up here as well. But yeah, I think and then maybe during the race I'll move it towards the, the speed traps that you see over there. It's quite cool, actually. I can like point to different parts of the screen. Anyway, is this your college dorm room? Yeah, pretty similar to that. It's not from the college itself, but yeah, it's near my college. Okay. Get a green screen background? Yeah, I could get a green screen background, but to be fair, these decorations in the back are quite nice. They were given to me by a friend, so yeah, I saw quite a few messages about them actually last stream as well. They are like the origami cranes, I think. Oh, well, there we go. We've had it happen again. Yeah. New mic or better acoustics, it sounds clearer. No, I think it's just I haven't changed anything as far as I can tell. So my mic is plugged into my extension rather than directly into my laptop. Maybe that has a slight effect, but yeah. Okay. I will also bring up the constructors' standings, shall we? So these are the constructors. Oh no, we don't really need to look too much at the constructors, but I'll bring them up. And as you can see, we've got McLaren 650 points to their name. We've got Mercedes 325. So they're nearly now 27 points ahead of the Ferrari team. So it's pretty good in terms of sealing second place. Of course, there's still 5 races left to go. So if Mercedes do have a few bad races and Ferrari have some good ones, then that can switch over and Ferrari could get that second place back. But you've also got to look, Red Bull isn't that far behind. Max Verstappen is scoring all of the points for the Red Bull team, but he's not that far behind, and Verstappen's pace in the past few races has been pretty good. So maybe Red Bull also has a shot at P2 in the constructors. The other thing that I would like to mention is that Max Verstappen, he was good in Baku, and then he was also reasonably good in Singapore. Of course, didn't have the outright pace to actually win the race, but his consistent race pace was still solid. He was suffering with some issues as well, but still managed to keep the pace up overall. So that sort of goes to indicate that the Red Bull car is good in these very high speed, like top speed oriented circuits, but also at the high downforce tracks as well. And here at COTA, it's a very sort of similar track to Silverstone, where you have lots of high-speed corners, namely Sector 1. I'll also take you through a flying lap as well. And then you have a few slow-speed corners as well in the final sector. And then you've also got these very, very long straights that contribute significantly to your lap time. So you do have to pick a reasonably slippery setup. It's not going to be a huge amount of downforce on the cars here in COTA. And, if you guys remember back to what Max Verstappen did in Silverstone, everyone was running a sort of reasonable amount of downforce for the circuit. Everyone was running, on a scale of probably 0 to 10, they were probably running 2 or 3 or 4 of downforce, more likely 3 or 4 levels of downforce if you're going from a scale of 0 to 10. And Max Verstappen decided, nah, screw it, I'm going to go for a level 1 of downforce, and managed to sneak pole position away from the McLarens at Silverstone. So he managed to do that with a super low downforce setup, and with a circuit that's very similar to Silverstone, he could try the same strategy again. Of course, it didn't work out in Silverstone because of the rain, and of course in the rain you want as much downforce as possible, so Max was never going to be that quick with a low downforce setup that he did have. But yeah, who knows what will happen today. Temps, of course, will play a big factor, as you can see here. Last year we had track temperatures of 35 degrees and air temperatures of 24 degrees in FP1. We'll get this year's data coming through shortly as well, and that will affect things as well as the wind as well. 15 kilometers per hour wind, quite significant, and it does get quite gusty around here in COTA as well, which means that the drivers do have to be aware of that. Okay. Let's see. Let's read through some more chat messages. What else we got? Loving the stream. Thank you very much. When is the sprint race? The sprint race is tomorrow, so it is. It'll be taking around about this time tomorrow, I think. Yeah. In fact, the sprint race will probably be on lap number 5 or so of the sprint race right now. In 24 hours time. So, yeah, wherever you are in the world, if you go back 11 minutes, that's when the sprint race starts tomorrow. Okay. What is the chance that Norris's punishment is owing a position at any point in the future race so Piastri can request a position swap to get back his lost position in Singapore? I mean, the thing with that is he lost a position in Singapore, and that resulted in only a few points lost between the two drivers because they weren't at the top of the field. You know, the gap between first place and second place is 7 points from 28 to 18, but then from 18 to 15 for second and third place. So Piastri can order a switch, but then it would revert. It would be a different number of points to get swapped around. Of course, one position gets swapped, but only. But then it could be, 5 points get swapped or 7 points get swapped, which would be unfair. I'm sure McLaren have thought about that. So who knows? Wishing you happy Diwali in advance. Thank you very much. Happy Diwali to anyone else as well that is watching. Folks, if you do want to. If you do want to watch the Formula 1 coverage, then it is on ORF this weekend. So if you go to an Austrian VPN server, go on to Google, search ORF, and yeah, then you can watch the Formula 1 for free as long as you've got the $2 a month Surfshark VPN. So go ahead and check that out. Do you think COTA is an underrated track? It's the first track since, I'd say, Silverstone, where it's possible to overtake these big modern-day cars. Honestly, yes, I think COTA is very much underrated. People, when asked about their favourite circuits, are going to say Spa, Silverstone, Suzuka, Brazil. I rarely hear COTA come up in these discussions, but COTA, I think, is a fantastic track. It's got a great mix of high speed, low speed, long straights, and really good overtaking opportunities as well. The complex in the final sector is really good for two drivers squabbling and battling away and re-overtaking each other in the span of a few hundred meters. In fact, what I'll take you through an onboard lap. So here we go. All right. I think that's the lap starting. Yeah, all right. So you continue on, you go through the final corner, you open DRS very, very early on in the straight, even before you actually hit the start-finish line, and then you can just see here, I'm just going to pause it, you can see there's this huge uphill as you go in towards turn number 1, and the drivers are up in 7th, they're up in 8th gear, but they actually brake super duper late, because this uphill is so steep, it actually helps them slow down a lot. So typically for this sort of corner, they'd be braking at 120, 125, but now they can brake probably 100, even 90 sometimes, depending on fuel loads and stuff like that. So super duper late braking going into turn number 1, and then you go plunge back down the hill for turn 2 and 3. And at this point, you're just minimizing the amount of steering input through these high speed corners. They turn left and then net goes to the other side, they turn right, the net goes to the other side. It's very, very sort of intense in terms of the G-forces on the driver's necks, this first sector. And, yeah, you make your way through, just rolling off as little, you start off, it's actually quite a nice sequence of corners where you'll start off the fast corners up in 7th gear, and then as each corners goes by, you drop, after 2 corners you drop it to 6th, after another corner you drop to 5th, after another corner you drop to 4th. So that's sort of the approach that you take in this first sector, and it's very much like a roller coaster. I think this was in fact the racetrack where we did get Lando Norris's team radio, where he was like, "I'm moving up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster." I think that must have been like 2019 or something, but I can't remember. Yeah. So that's the first sector. Then you've got a little bit of downhill braking here for turn number 12, and it's a little bit tricky in terms of finding the perfect braking point, because of course you're already slightly on an angle, and then you brake, and then the front of your car gets loaded down even further, which means that you get a very high chance of locking the rears up, but the drivers sort of figure that out. Same thing for turn number 12. You've got a bit more of a downhill braking into there. You've got, of course, DRS down this straight and loads of opportunities to pass on the inside, maybe pass around the outside. We've seen this rule of if you're ahead at the apex, it's your corner, and it's quite a difficult one to sort of police around here. But if a driver does send a dive bomb down the inside, they're pretty much allowed to just force you off onto the right-hand side here, onto the right-hand side of the track, which is obviously not optimal for racing, but we'll see who takes advantage of that rules, who sort of plays it fairly, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then you continue on to the final sector where, you know, you're going around third, fourth gear, and you're not really at any point it's super full throttle. You're sort of just easing the car through. At this point in the lap, your tires are also overheating, which is also a big problem. And then your final, well, not final corner, but final major corner here, loads of load on your front left tire, really warms up, then flick the car to the left, and then the same thing again for the final corner to just get a good run onto your flying lap, really. But COTA, in fact, is quite nice to the drivers because the final corner of turn 16, 17, 18, those three corners combined puts loads of loads on your front left tire, and then your final two corners of 19 and 20 put loads of load on your front right tire. The tyre warm-up procedure around COTA is actually quite easy, quite straightforward. So that's one thing the teams won't have to take into account when they're doing their 1 hour practice session, because, you know, in 1 hour you've got a lot of things to learn, and yeah, that's just one less thing to figure out, because you will know that in advance from previous years and things like that. So let me just get rid of that, and there we go. We've got the 2025 data up on the screen. Risk of rain is 0%, folks. We have got air temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. We have got a track temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. So it's 5 degrees hotter than it was last year, and yeah, we'll see how the drivers cope. The wind is not too strong, 4.3 kilometers per hour, so not too much of an issue for the drivers once they get out on track. Hey F1 Gamer, do you think that we'll see quite a lot of lockups going into turn 12, and do you think that they should change the rules of forcing the drivers off the track? I think that we will probably see a few drivers, you know, trying to send a dive bomb in and then probably resulting in a lockup, but I don't think that they are going to change the rule around forcing the driver off the track. I would say that it would be a good idea to change the rule, but then what do you change it to? You know, like, I don't have a perfect solution to, like, what is the best way to police and to say if this is a safe move or if this is a clean move or whatever. So I think this is the best that we've got. I personally haven't seen any sort of rigorous thing that you can perfectly say that, oh yes, this is clean, this is not clean. But yeah, there will be someone that will have some ideas, and once those get proposed, it would be nice to get a change. To be honest, yeah. Is there a risk of rain over the weekend? I don't think so. I will double check the forecast. Also, folks, we've got 2,000 people watching. If you could hit the like button, that would very much be appreciated. It goes a long way to helping out the channel and the algorithm, which you guys have been doing, well, absolutely incredibly, I've got to say, because, well, here we are at 200k, nearly going to hit 203k by the looks of it. And also, folks, I've just checked the weather forecast. No chance of rain whatsoever. There's a very minor chance that it might rain tomorrow morning, about 10% or so, but I consider that to be highly unlikely. So yeah. Okay. What else have we got going on then? Hey F1 Gamer, since the current race is in America, can you change the track temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit? I get that it is in America, and of course in America you use Fahrenheit, but at the end of the day, this is a global live stream, and I think most people in the world do understand Celsius rather than Fahrenheit, but I will just convert it for you on my laptop here. So 38C to Fahrenheit. I think that is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So 100 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature, but I think we'll keep it in Celsius because that's what most of the people around the world do understand. F1 Gamer, I have a VPN and it's currently in Zurich, but the SRF server says it's not available in my location. SRF isn't actually streaming the Formula 1 this weekend. Well, they aren't streaming FP1. They will be doing Sprint Quali, I think. But if you connect to an Austrian VPN server, so I think that would be Vienna, and then you search up ORF F1, then it will come up on the screen. Okay. What are my predicted strategies for the sprint and the race? I suspect it will be just medium tyres for the sprint race. It's pretty sort of bog standard around here. For the race, we could be seeing a two-stop race, especially with these warm track temperatures. Quite likely that we will actually have a two-stop. And Pirelli have been doing a good job in sort of bringing softer tyres, but making sure they're still durable enough for the entire race. And yeah, so the softer tyres will mean that we'll be able to probably get a two-stop race in the cards. But yeah, Pirelli haven't released their stats yet of what they think the fastest race strategy is going to be, because Pirelli need the information from Free Practice 1 first. Once they get that, they'll get the information also from the sprint race, and then they'll combine it all together and release the final race strategies. F1 Gamer, what track would you bring back to the calendar? I'd probably bring back Hockenheim. I think Hockenheim was a great circuit, or just a race in Germany, really. That'd be pretty nice to see. Okay, Aaron Beck says, I'm here at Kota. Well, that is fantastic, Aaron. Which corner are you sat at? To be fair, there's loads of good corners around here in Kota. Turn 1's fantastic. Watching the drivers going through the high-speed corners is incredible. Then as you go in towards the final sector as well, there's so much squabbling going on, but especially sort of in the midfield as well, between those between the midfield drivers. It's great to see. Okay. Also, I would, let's bring up the driver standing. So as you can see here, we've got Oscar Piastri, 336 points to his name. Lando Norris, 22 points behind. And Max Verstappen is 63 points behind. I actually saw quite the funny meme where it had Oscar Piastri on one side, it had Max Verstappen on the other side, and then it had George Russell in the middle doing a T-pose. Because George Russell, of course, is number 63. But yeah, regardless, Max has got quite the points gap to close if he does want to win this championship. And Lando Norris has also got to get on with it, really, because there are only 5 races left of the season. If Oscar Piastri builds that gap up, let's say another 7 points this race, or maybe he builds up 5 points or something, that is going to be all the more harder to close up in only the 4 remaining races. So Lando Norris has got to get a move on, and if he doesn't gain a lot of points on Piastri this race, or this weekend, it's going to be a tough championship fight till the end. A few other things I would like to point out is that Alex Albon there in 8th position in the championship with 70 points to his name for the Williams team. He's only 18 points back from Kimi Antonelli, who's been in the Mercedes. So Antonelli scoring nearly 1/3 of the points of George Russell, which is obviously not ideal, but of course Antonelli's a rookie, so you can forgive him there a little bit. But I've got to say, outstanding performance from Albon, just consistently always up there, 70 points to his name, just behind one of the Merc drivers. Yeah. I'd say also Charles Leclerc as well. Charles Leclerc is 50 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, or 47 points ahead. But regardless, Leclerc's been doing a great job this season. Hamilton has been getting closer, but still not up to par by the looks of it. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Okay, F1 Gamer, with some rookies being on the track for the first time, do you think we might see any mistakes, and what's the toughest sections to capture? I think we'll definitely see some mistakes from the rookies in the first sector where it's super high speed. You're flowing from one corner directly into the next. The drivers, they look so far in advance. You will see probably, like, if the drivers did have an eye tracking thing to sort of track where they're looking, you'd probably see as the drivers are going through turn 3, turn 4, they're actually looking at turn 5 and turn 6 and turn 7 up the road because of how quick everything's coming in. That's how they process stuff in advance. It's sort of like, let's say, you had a reaction time game and you had to press the button when, it changes to green. So if you don't know when it's going to change to green, there's no sort of countdown timer. Your reaction time is going to be, let's say, 0.2 of a second or 0.3 of a second or something along those lines. But if you've got a countdown timer saying 3, 2, 1, and then you press the button, then your reaction time is going to be pretty much zero. Like, it's going to be super duper close. And that's essentially what the drivers are doing by looking ahead. They're sort of processing 2-3 seconds in advance what's about to arrive so they can put in the perfect amount of steering input to get the car around the corner. So the drivers will have to get used to that. Of course, they do it very often at all of the other circuits, but I think COTA is one of those, the toughest parts. I'd say along with Suzuka Sector 1, COTA Sector 1, the corners just come thick and fast, and the rookies are going to have to be prepared for that one. Then next as well, they're going to take quite the severe beating around here because they're pulling 5 or 6G for and then it's 5 or 6G, not even sustained. It's 5G this way, then 5G the other way, then 5G this way, the rookie drivers will definitely be struggling with that one. Yeah. And then we might see some lockups going into 12, drivers trying to brake too late, trying to be super duper heroic and getting some dive bombs done. But I think the first sector will be the main struggle point. All right, there we go. We've got a team radio there from Alex Albon. Says cooling system is off. All right. Let's see. Do you have hope for Charles Leclerc? We'll see what happens with Charles. Of course, it would be great to have another one of those sunset laps. I don't know if you guys have seen sort of the edit with Charles Leclerc setting a lap at sunset. Like the sun gets super duper low in COTA, and Charles Leclerc is just driving around the lap, and you got Skyfall playing in the background. If we could get something like that, that would be pretty cool. It doesn't look great for Ferrari, to be totally honest with you folks. You might kind of mute just to let you know. You talk for 20 seconds and you go quiet for 3. I have an off button here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but if I turn it off, then you can't hear me. So if I turn it off, then you can't hear me. So that's what it is. I occasionally just turn it off when I've got nothing to say. All right, another radio check there from George Russell. Can you hear me? Okay, I think we can only hear each other whilst the umbilicals are unplugged. Can you hear me, Ava? Yes, I can hear you. Well, there we go. George Russell's team radio is working. They do make sure that the radio volume's working as well. If you guys have seen that one before. And sometimes you talk when you're on mute. Yes, I do. I do sometimes talk when I'm on mute by accident, but I think I've got pretty good at it now to not do that. I've been doing this for, I think, with this mic probably for like 2 years now. So, right. All the time from the 2021 pole sitters lost their position in the first corner. Any thoughts on this? Well, that's the thing. Turn number 1 at COTA, I'll just show you what turn number 1 looks like, but it's just the biggest hairpin that you've ever seen in your life. So, where is it? Yeah, so you're going up the hill now, up the hill, up the crest, whatever you want to call it, but just a huge hairpin, like full 180 degrees. And then also the other thing is that you have an uphill braking zone, which means that some drivers may be able to judge their braking and brake that ever so slight little bit later because they take into account the fact that this is an uphill braking zone. Now, of course, all of these drivers, when they're doing their qualifying laps, they're very well aware that it's an uphill braking zone. They'll brake late for that. But when you're on lap number 1, you've got an extra 100 kilograms of fuel in your car. You've also got cold tires. Your brakes aren't warmed up properly. Whichever driver judges that one perfectly, sends it down the inside, they're going to make the move and it's going to stick because you can just force the other driver wide according to the racing rules, which probably isn't the best thing in the world, but the rules are what they are. And maybe it's beneficial for the drivers to be. I should probably turn the team radios on for this side as well. Actually, give me a sec there, folks. Oh, there we go. All right. We really do need to find you a water sponsor now that now you can actually see me. Yeah, maybe we do need a water sponsor. I should probably drink some water, but we're getting drivers out on track, and of course, given that it is a sprint weekend, the drivers only have 1 hour of practice, and 1 hour of practice means that they have 1 hour to get their setup perfect. McLaren have been having some issues with their setup in the past couple of races. At the start of FP1, it's not always perfect. They have to work on it for quite a while to get it up to scratch, but they're not going to have that luxury this weekend. They have to get it perfect from the get-go, otherwise they're going to suffer for the sprint quali. So yeah, we'll see how it goes for the McLaren team. All of the teams will put in extra effort to find the most perfect setup. They will get their test drivers in the sim rig for a little bit longer to get that setup perfect. But we'll sort of see how it goes. What's track temp and air temp? We've got track temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, air temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. Okay. Let's see. Also, folks, be sure to hit the like button. Very much would be appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed as well, we're getting pretty close to 203k, which would be incredible. Okie dokes. So here we are then. Not expecting a face reveal, but let's go. Yeah, I mean, we did get the face reveal, I think, 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago, one race weekend ago in Singapore, but I'm sure not everyone watched that stream, so nice to see you all here, folks. Welcome along, anyone that is new, and this is me, this is F1 Gamer. Okay. BTW would be a great sponsor choice. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if BTW are really open to being sponsored, but opening to sponsor me. I'm not sure how I'd even get in contact with them, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, come on, Isaac Hadjar. Yeah, well, Isaac Hadjar is just getting out onto the track now, and he'll be looking to do better than Liam Lawson. That's his main aim, of course, beat your teammate, especially as a rookie driver. And I think Isaac Hadjar's been doing a fantastic job, to be honest. He's got a podium this season as well, so a lot of things have went well for him in his rookie season of Formula One. I've got to say, a good job. Yeah, good job to the Frenchman. All right. The drivers are out on track. We've got Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll on mediums. I don't know exactly what they're doing on mediums, but we've got a nice custom livery here with the VCarb team. We've also got a nice custom livery with the McLaren, just a little bit more of a splash of white on their car. It still would be great if the McLarens could go back to their chrome livery. That would be extra awesome, to be honest, but who knows? Alright, George Russell's icon isn't moving. Yes, George Russell's icon. Looks like George Russell's GPS is broken again. Folks, it's happened again. I mean, I think we've had George Russell's GPS work quite consistently for, I'd say, the whole middle of the season. There were probably 2 or 3 races at the start where it wasn't working, but Russell's GPS is broken again. So that's good to see. But no, Russell is driving around on track. He, of course, won last race in Singapore and is doing quite well, actually, out on the circuit. Yeah, Bahrain, it was totally broken, and it was actually quite the big problem in Bahrain because it kept on messing up all of the stats screen. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to move my face back to the sort of speed traps thing again, like we had it last weekend. But yeah, so we can just see some more radio messages. But I think that's all right for now. I'll figure out a different place later, but yeah. Okie dokes. So we got Carlos Sainz top of the times. One thing to expect here, folks, we are going to be expecting a lot of tyre wear. So these lap times you're seeing here, 1:37s, they are 5 seconds off last year's pole time, but also they are. Last year's pole time and last year's sprint pole time were slightly different. They were different by about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. So we're going to see probably 4 seconds, 3 seconds worth of track evolution right now. And then once the sprint quali and the sprint race happens, we're probably going to see a further 3 tenths, 4 tenths of track evolution for the actual qualifying. So maybe we'll beat last year's pole time with just in sprint quali itself, but if it doesn't happen in sprint quali, it probably will happen in the race. Okay. Hello. Where can I watch the race with a VPN? It is ORF this weekend. ORF, O for Oscar, R for race, F for Ferrari. Alright, Lewis Hamilton's looking pretty good here. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Final sector still remaining to go. Don't know... we've got the Astons, they're back out on the hard tyres. So it looks like they were just scrubbing the mediums that they normally do this, actually, Aston Martin. They scrub their medium tyres in preparation for the sprint race. So I think it's already confirmed Aston Martin are using the... They're using the medium tyres for the sprint race tomorrow, but that's sort of to be expected, really. Everyone's out on the hard tyres right now because they want to gather the hard tyre data. They're not going to have any other opportunities to do it because they're going to go directly into sprint quali, which is in 3 hours and 53 minutes, as you can see there at the top right of the screen. And essentially, they'll be getting all their soft tyre information there. For the sprint race tomorrow, they'll get all their medium tyre information. And then, of course, they're going to go into quali where they're going to get soft tyre information again. For the race, they need the hard tyre information. And that's why they're all out on hard tyres right now. What's the temp looking like for practice? 40 degrees track temp, 28 degrees air temp. It does say right there, in fact, the track temperature. And then air temperature is further down on that side. So, yeah, I'd appreciate it if you don't spam too much. All right. Yeah, Max Verstappen, purple in the first sector. I mean, this is a pretty bog standard sort of FP1 session where we have a sprint race, all of the teams just gathering as much hard tyre information as they can, and they'll be looking to get more soft tyre information and medium tyres later on. I do love Kota because of the hill at the start. Yeah, it is a really, really nice location to have a racetrack. Honestly, I think Kota is a very underrated racetrack. I think someone asked that earlier, but no, it's a fantastic circuit to be racing at. So, yeah, good to see. Okie dokes. Perfect camera placement. Yeah, I think it's all right. I mean, the speed traps aren't overly important. I will sort of keep you up to date on them and tell you who's the quickest through the speed traps. As of right now, the fastest is Liam Lawson. He goes 322 through the speed traps. Max Verstappen did 321. So looks like Max is already running on a pretty slim level of downforce, but we're yet to see what McLaren, what all of the other teams can do. Piastri was doing 313, so that's quite a big difference, 8 kilometers per hour. As you can see, the speed trap is there at the end of the main straight. Well, not the main straight, sorry, the back straight, just where Nico Hulkenberg's passing by over here. This white dot is where the speed trap's being measured. Yeah, essentially, the McLaren's a little bit slower than the Red Bulls right now, but it's pretty typical of that to happen in practice sessions. We normally do see a lot of that. Why is Russell stopped on track? Russell's GPS is broken, folks. Russell's GPS is broken. Oh, Alex Albon up into third place. Good to see. And then we'll have Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is up in first as well. Fantastic. Okie dokes. F1 Gamer, why don't you put your face cam on top of the radios instead? Because some people want to read the radios as well. And I think the radios, they're constantly updating. The speed traps aren't so much changing all of the time. And I can much more easily read out the speed traps when it's important. And when it's not, it's sort of just hidden behind me. I could always turn my webcam off, but... I don't know. I think it's nice to have. I think we did do a vote last stream, and we had 70% of people said they'd prefer it with a webcam. So here we are. Yeah. Charles Leclerc up into 7th position, and then Lawson replaces him, actually. Lawson up into 5th, Leclerc down into 8th. And yeah, Max is looking pretty good. Lando Norris quickly breaks that, though. Top of the times for Lando Norris. His speed was 317 kilometers per hour through the speed trap, so he went 4 kilometers per hour slower than Max Verstappen. So not really the biggest difference in the world. So yeah, the McLarens, once the engines are turned up, once they're all in qualifying mode, I suspect similar sort of top speeds between the teams if the setup stays the same right now, but of course we know the setups will always be changing. Hadjar's just been told over the radio that Bottas is pushing, and Bottas now and then Leclerc, so I don't know if they're confusing Bortoletto or Bottas. But yeah, Hadjar complaining over the radio saying that yeah, it's very confusing. I would be, actually. If I got told that Valtteri Bottas was on the track while flying around the circuit at 200 miles per hour, I'd be a bit confused. Yeah, Norris there, 4/10 clear of Carlos Sainz, and 6 hundredths of a second clear. Wait, did I say 4/10 clear? I meant 4 milliseconds clear. And Max Verstappen is 66 milliseconds back from Lando Norris. Okay. Lewis is cooking this practice. Yeah, he's looking pretty good so far. Fernando Alonso, quickest through the speed traps, 324 for him. Purple in the middle sector, and that is because of the quickest through the speed traps. You know, he got a lot of speed down that back straight because of a toe, and yeah, it's quite important, isn't it? So yeah, the toe does help you out a lot, does gain you a lot of free lap time, and Alonso slots himself up into 6th position. Also, folks, we've just seen, is that Isaac Hadjar? I think Isaac Hadjar exceeding track limits there at turn number 19. That is a common occurrence. The FIA are monitoring track limits, turn 19, turn 20. In fact, they're doing it pretty much every single corner, because a lot of corners here in COTA are well, you can gain a lot of lap time by just exceeding track limits. You guys should see the IndyCar laps around here. In IndyCar, they have no sort of idea of track limits, and they just drive around wherever they want. And the racing lines that the IndyCars take is quite incredible when you look at the Formula One lines. Such a big difference. But yes, Hadjar getting caught up with traffic, complaining about the traffic, and then I think Tsunoda as well, also getting affected by it behind him. Sorry, not Tsunoda, Lawson getting affected behind him. Max Verstappen, though, top of the time, 7/10 clear of Lando Norris. Good to see, of course. Still, not too much to read into. We are still 3 seconds away from last year's pole time, and there's a lot of dust and dirt being kicked up on the circuit right now, and that's yet to be cleared off the track. F1 Gamer, wear your merch. This actually is my merch. This hoodie is my merch. It's a sample that I've ordered, but the basically there's some designs on the back which I'm not going to be able to show you, but the designs aren't properly sticking to the back of the hoodie, and they sort of like fade off a little bit. The hoodie itself very comfortable, but I need to figure out how to make sure that the designs don't just peel off once they go in the washing machine. So yeah. I will be getting that done once I get some more time on my hands. Alright, we got Lance Stroll, purple in the middle sector, and again, that is because of a toe. I don't know who he got a toe off, but it might have been Fernando Alonso by the looks of it, looking at the gap between the two drivers on the circuit right now. So, yeah. Is there any reason why everyone's on the hards? It's to gather information on the hards. They'll be getting soft tyre information during quali. They'll be getting medium tyre information during the sprint race. So that's why they're on the hards right now. Okay. Do embroidery? Yes, I will actually. I was looking into getting stuff sort of embroidered, but then if you have super like complex designs, it's quite expensive. But I'll be looking into some stuff. I have done a fair amount of research, but I'm still yet to come to a final design. So yeah, I will let you know once the hoodie is like top-notch quality, and then I'll tell you when to go buy it. Okay. What are the chances of a safety car and Max's realistic chances of winning? A chance of a safety car, I would say, are pretty high around here, but of course you do have to take into account that it is a big open wide racing circuit where you've got loads of runoff area as well, which means that because there is loads of runoff area, what results is that drivers aren't going to get in contact, aren't going to have super big crashes because they'll just go off the track. So it's not going to be as high in Singapore. And also, that's the other thing I'd like to mention, folks. Ferrari were getting a lot of hate. I'd say maybe I'm not sure exactly what I would describe it as, but Ferrari were getting a lot of blame for this for the LICO that they were telling Charles Leclerc to do over the radio. And for folks that don't know, LICO is lift and coast. So it means once you're going into a braking zone, instead of going full 100% throttle before you jam on the brakes, you just come off the throttle, so you roll off a little bit of speed, but you also are using zero fuel at that moment in time when you're not on the throttle. And the reason for Ferrari wanting him to do that was obviously to save fuel. And I think the reason why Charles Leclerc was being forced to save fuel so aggressively is purely down to the fact that Ferrari thought that, oh, it's Singapore, we pretty much every single year always have a safety car, so we'll probably get another safety car this year, and if we're going to get another safety car, we're going to save so much fuel behind the safety car, it makes sense to just underfuel the car. I think the race was 62 laps, I think, or maybe 52 laps, but either way, Ferrari may have put one full lap less worth of fuel, maybe two full laps less worth of fuel in the car, because they were like, oh, the safety car's going to come out, we're just going to save all of the fuel behind the safety car anyway, so it doesn't matter. But clearly that didn't happen. The safety car didn't come out. Ferrari like, oh no, we're not going to have enough fuel to get to the end of the race. So then they instructed Charles Leclerc to lift off the to do a lot of lifting and coasting. So unfortunate sort of there for Ferrari, because if you do look at the history of the Singapore Grand Prix, we pretty much always have a safety car or a virtual safety car or something where the drivers have an opportunity to save fuel, but no such occurrence happened last year. We didn't get a safety car last year, we also didn't get one this year, so yeah, Ferrari just getting caught out by some unfortunate guessing, shall I say. All right. It wasn't about the fuel, it was also about the brake temperatures. Oh, okay. Well, brake temperatures around Singapore, it wasn't all that hot as well. So Ferrari, I mean, okay, well, I guess Ferrari are just doing Ferrari things then. Because typically when we get lifting and coasting stuff, it's very often about not having enough fuel. But brake temperature is just a bit ridiculous because they know it's a slow speed circuit. And it wasn't even that hot in Singapore because it could have been much, much worse, but it wasn't. And they still had the wrong brake ducts fitted for overheating issues, which is brilliant. I mean, if it was brake temperature issues, what they could have done is turned up engine braking. So he shifts the brake balance forwards, or shifts the brake balance forwards, and then also have more rear engine braking, so the rear brakes don't have too much of an issue. But either way, I mean, I'm not a Ferrari engineer. I'm thankful I'm not as well. But Ferrari never really fixing. Doing a lot of things. And of course, Lewis Hamilton also had his brake failure. So maybe that was related, maybe Hamilton didn't do enough lifting and coasting, and that's why he got a brake failure. And Charles Leclerc did do enough lifting and coasting, obviously complained about it over the radio, and then resulted in not really being all that quick, to be honest. But it makes literally no sense to have braking issues around Singapore, because the thing is, you already have so much downforce on the car. It doesn't, like, the little bit of extra drag that you have. You have so much downforce and also so much drag. The extra little bit of drag that you get from a slightly bigger brake duct has little to minimal effect. A track at Monza, I understand it. At Monza, you want all the top speed you can get your hands on, so you put the tiniest possible brake ducts you can. But in Singapore, it doesn't matter. You've already got a huge amount of drag, so it's a tiny percentage increase. But it is Ferrari after all, so oh well. All right, but either way, they look to be bouncing back. We've got Hamilton, a 134.8 from him, up in first position now, 5/10 clear of Max Verstappen. Why is Oscar in 15th? Because he's not pushing too hard by the looks of it. Let me just get the speed traps up for Oscar. Oscar is the slowest driver through the speed traps. He's 4 kilometers per hour slower than Lando Norris, and he's 10 kilometers per hour slower than Fernando Alonso. So that is why Oscar Piastri is in 15th. He's clearly not turned up the engine mode, or he's running a lot more downforce. Yeah. Okay. Everyone, give me what's your thoughts on the rookies' progress so far in practice. The rookies are doing all right, really. No sort of major incidents from them. A few of them have gone off the track, but some of the experienced drivers have also done that, so not too much of a concern. And they will have done a lot of time in the simulator as well beforehand. As every time they go to a circuit that they've never driven at before, the rookies will spend a considerable time in the simulator to get adapted to things. And also, these red flag. What's this for? Why have they called a red flag? There's probably just some debris somewhere because it doesn't look like anyone's crashed. So, yeah. We've got a red flag for debris by the looks of it. Or has someone stopped on the circuit? I don't think anyone has. Oh, it's a piece of debris off Lance Stroll's car. There we go. Something, just a little bit of carbon fibre flew off as he was bouncing over the curbs. It is, the curbs are quite they vibrate the car around a lot. And often results in the drivers having a little piece of carbon fibre fly off. Okay. Yo, where's that hoodie from? It's my sample hoodie for the merch that I'm making. So I will be getting that merch out to you guys shortly. I mean, to be fair, it's already on slipstream.clothing, but I wouldn't... Well, if you just sort of want a nice hoodie, then go ahead, but the design on the back isn't the perfect right now. It will sort of come off a little bit as you use it more and as it goes through the washing machine and stuff like that. So I'm looking to get that fixed, and once it will be fixed, I will, of course, let you guys know. Yeah, there's just a bit of debris on the exit turn number 19, but they've called a full-on red flag for that. Brilliant. Of course, it was Stroll. Yeah, what can I say? All right. The timer will carry on ticking down there, just so you can see right at the end of the screen. Timer's going to carry on ticking down because it is a practice session. If we do have a red flag during quali, the timer will pause itself, but because it is a practice session, it will carry on ticking down. Lewis Hamilton, P1, yeah, I mean, a great job there from Lewis, but you do have to take into account, nobody really is pushing in the first half of FP1. All of them doing race runs, all of them have got a little bit more fuel in their car than they will be having in quali, so good to see there from Lewis, but yeah, I wouldn't read into that too much. Was there really 5 red flags in the Baku quali? I'm not sure there was 5. I'm sure there was 6, no? I think 6 was the record, and it happened in Baku quali, so there we go. Can you explain a bit more about sprint races and why it's not taking place in every race, but now it is in Austin? The sprint races are just a new thing by the Formula One organization to add a little bit more of the action for the fans that are there, because of course the way that it currently works is you have 3 practice sessions, 1 quali, 1 race, and yeah, most of the drivers, most of the fans there do want to see the race, but of course the tickets are super expensive and there are a limited number of seats and stuff like that. So the F1 sort of solution to that is to have just 1 practice session, then 2 qualifying sessions, and also 2 races as well. So fans can see more of that. Yeah. I think it's a reasonably good idea as long as you don't do it too often, because I think it is nice to have FP1, 2, 3, and the sort of the interest and the hype sort of building up slowly, rather than just sort of diving directly into it. But yeah. All right. Also, folks, session is restarting in 1 minute's time. We've got the message from race control, so session resuming in 1 minute, and then we'll have the drivers back out onto the circuit. Okay. What would the repercussions be for Lando? Well, I personally think the repercussions would be that Lando Norris has to give Oscar Piastri a tow for for maybe one qualifying session or maybe two qualifying sessions. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, when asked about it in the media, they were all very, very vague. No one was giving any sort of specific answer as to what the repercussions are or what they will be or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think is will the repercussions be for Lando Norris? Will it just be a slap on the wrist? Will it be a very stern telling off, or will it be swap a position around during the race, or what's it going to be? I think giving a driver a tow during a quali lap at the end of Q3 is probably a good enough repercussion when you are in a championship battle. But, yeah, I don't really know. They should probably just not interfere, but, you know, it's McLaren. They've been interfering all season long, so at some point you've got to stop. All right. Let's see. Yeah, drivers back out onto the circuit now. Session has resumed. Okie dokes. Repercussions were for crashing into Oscar Piastri at the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. He was sort of just going around turn number 3 and then bumped his teammate wide into the corner. So, yeah, that's what happened. All right. You know what I'll do? I'll also take you through an onboard lap of the circuit. So let me just get this up on the screen here. So we'll cover up the team radios for a few minutes or so. Well, for 1 minute probably of this flying lap. And yeah, so you've got the main straight down here. You're just heading down here up into 7th and 8th gear as you get towards the end of the straight. Slam on the brakes super duper late. Turn in late. Get a late apex. Very nice straight line your exit. Then hug the inside line for turn number 2. Then you approach turn number 3. Now you're going through the 3 and 4 in 7th gear. Then 5 as well in 7th gear, then drop it down into 6th, flick it to the right, then down into 5th. See, I'm sort of stabbing at the steering wheel here. This is what would happen if your front tyres aren't up into temperature. You sort of just stab at the steering wheel, trying to get the car to bite, trying to get it to turn. But, you know, if everything's smoothly up to temperature, you're just super smooth on the steering, and yeah, you make it through quite nicely. Then it's a downhill braking for turn 11. You've got the super duper long straight here. DRS, of course, very good opportunity to slipstream a driver ahead of you on a quali lap, gain you probably 2/10, 3/10 worth of lap time. Then super late on the brakes here. You've got a downhill braking zone, so you're already sort of like this in terms of downhill, and then you slam on the brakes, the front of the car goes down even further, and the rear of the car is in fact very, very light. So the drivers, in fact, they shift the brake balance forward super aggressively into turn 12 to make sure that the rears don't lock up. Then you're making your way through turns number 13, 14, 15, 16. Very nice complex of corners here. Loads of different lines that you can take to try and overtake drivers when you are actually racing during the sprint race and the actual race itself. And then of course you have got the final few corners where you flick the car to the left, stay within track limits. FIA is monitoring track limits at this corner and at the next corner as well. It's quite easy to exceed track limits, so the drivers do have to be wary. Yeah, that is a lap of that's a lap of the Circuit of the Americas. Okay. Yeah, Russell's transponder has started working again, and as you can see there, folks, sprint quali right at the top right of the screen there, it's in 3 hours and 30 minutes. F1 Gamer, tell us your predictions. This one's a bit of a tough question. I'm going to predict that Max is on the front row. I don't think... Well, maybe he could get pole, I'm not sure, but I think he will be able to get onto the front row, purely out of the fact that the McLaren drivers aren't the most consistent drivers in the world compared to Max Verstappen, shall we say. Compared to Max and Fernando Alonso, who I would argue are probably one of, if not the most consistent drivers on the grid. I would say the McLaren drivers aren't directly up there, so one of the drivers will have a good lap, one of the drivers will have a bad lap, and Max Verstappen will be there either in first or second to take whatever's left. That's my sort of prediction, but let's see what happens. All right, 30 minutes remain of the session. All the drivers still out now on hard tyres. There's about a second difference between the hards and the softs, 1.1 seconds. Quite a big difference around here in Kota because it is just such a high-speed track. You gain a lot from having those soft tyres, especially in the final sector as well. In the slow-speed stuff where you don't have as much aerodynamic grip, you have all of the mechanical grip from the soft tyres. That's where they really come and shine. So, yeah, the soft tyres do make up a lot of lap time around this racetrack. When did the face reveal happen? I missed it. It is when did it happen? It happened at the Singapore Grand Prix, so just last race. That's when it happened. So if you want to go back and rewatch it, it is there. But you know, I'm sort of the same person. You know, I'm not going to change from the Singapore GP to now. So I guess you've already seen the face reveal. All right. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's sort of just driving around, really. We've seen some lockups here from Alex Albon. And the problem with lockups is you can actually see there, if you're watching the onboard footage, the actual TV broadcast, you can see there's a shiny surface to Alex Albon's tyre. And that is the flat-spotted part of the track, and you can flat-spotted part of the tyre, and you can see that goes the whole way around the entire rubber section of the tyre, which means that it's going to be very, very tough to sort of recover from that because you need that shiny layer to sort of wear out a little bit so you can get optimal braking performance. But because it's around the entire circumference of the tyre, yeah, his braking performance is pretty bad, and he's going to have to wait a little bit, do a few more slow laps to wear that tyre out enough, and then he can start to push. All right. Why is everyone out on used tyres? It's because they don't have that many sets of hard tyres. It is a sprint weekend after all, so you do have sprint races, you have sprint qualies, so they don't have enough sets of hard tyres to be using multiple of them, so they're going to be using one set in FP1, and then they'll save one set for the race. Okay. Let's see. Love the face cam. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right, what else have we got going on? Oh, we did hit 203k, that's fantastic. I think we could probably hit 220 till the end of the season, but I don't really know. I think it's fine either way. 200k is a pretty cool achievement, to say the least. Piastri purple in the final sector, and he goes up into 4th position. So it looks like he probably backed off a little bit in the 1st and 2nd sector, had a little bit more tyre life, had a little bit more margin in terms of his tyres overheating in the final sector, and then managed to put together a purple final sector. He goes half a tenth quicker than his teammate as well. So the McLaren's looking pretty good in the slow speed stuff, and yeah, that's sort of where their strong suit is, isn't it? When the tyres are overheating and in the slow speed stuff, that's sort of a double whammy for McLaren. So that final sector looks strong for them. Last year in the 1st sector, Lando Norris did get pole in the 1st sector, but even after he watched Max Verstappen's replay of Max Verstappen's 2nd place lap, he was still like, I have no idea how Max could go that fast in the 1st sector. I just can't do it. So maybe it's an issue with Lando Norris, but I think much more likely an issue with the McLaren car. Their high speed performance compared to Max Verstappen in the Red Bull is just not there, really. So, you know, the 3rd sector will be McLaren's sector, 1st sector maybe Max Verstappen's, and then the middle sector is the top speed sector. So we'll see who comes out on top. All right, Norris improves up into 2nd place there, and he goes quicker than his teammate by about 0.3 of a second. Hey F1 Gamer, what's the latest contract looking like for 2026? Any moves expected? Well, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli got their contracts confirmed for 2026, so they are continuing on as expected. There was a little bit of sort of discussion maybe up in the air of, is George Russell going to continue? It was quite likely that he was, especially after winning that race in Singapore. There was no way that they wouldn't renew his contract. So yeah, that continues on there, and I think we've got pretty much the whole field finalised, if I remember correctly. I think the Alpine 2nd drive is still a little bit up in the air. Esteban Ocon is complaining about brake issues. He said, the brake stayed at 100% all the way. So what he's saying is, I went into the turn, I hit the brakes, and I started off at 100% brake pressure. So I started off all the way up here, and then, Ocon thinks that on the brake pedal he came off the pressure and it sort of dropped down a little bit, but what he thinks happened in real life is there was some sort of problem with the master cylinder, with the brake issues, and it sort of just remained at 100% pressure. I don't know if that's exactly possible, but maybe it is, and Ocon will have to have his brake issues investigated. He's currently in the pit lane. Okay. F1 Gamer, can you do a rundown of all the different colours and stuff on the map? Yeah, sure. So we have got these little green dashed lines here. This means this is the DRS zone. So same thing for here. This green dot here, this green dot here are the DRS detection points. So if you're within 1 second of the driver ahead of you at this green dot, you get DRS for the following DRS zone. And same thing for this green dot here. You get, if you're within 1 second here, you get the following DRS zone. All the different colours here just represent the different sectors. You know, so red is sector 1, blue is sector 2, yellow is sector 3. And then in terms of the circuit here, the colours have a slightly different meaning, where yellow is slower than your personal best, green is your personal best, and purple is the fastest out of all drivers, and blue means that you're coming in or out of the pit lane. Drop Dead Hero 83, check my pre-house comment please, would appreciate his wisdom and advice. I don't know where to find this comment, so if you could just send it again, that'd be fantastic. Why are there 2 radio boxes? 1 radio box is, so you can see here we've got a team radio from Isaac Hadjar. I mean, this is really awkward. There you can see there's a team radio from Isaac Hadjar. Once we get a few more coming through, Isaac Hadjar will get put over to the other side of the screen, and there you go. You can see Isaac Hadjar's radio on the other side of the screen. So once it goes off from one side, it carries on to the other. All right. What are your thoughts on Palau and McLaren right now? I mean, it wasn't really the best decision there from McLaren. Well, the thing is, McLaren don't have any other spots, and at the first team they've got McLaren. Norris and Piastri. Those 2 drivers aren't going anywhere very soon. So you know, what can Alex Palau do really? It's unlikely that he's going to get a spot. So yeah, is it better to switch? Is it better to stay with McLaren? I'm not exactly sure. Oh yeah, and sorry, the white dot as well. The white dot is the speed trap. I forgot to mention that one. Did you see Latifi getting his degree? Yes, Nicholas Latifi graduated from London Business School, and he has got a degree, I think, something in business, something in economics. So instead of crashing the Williams, Nicholas Latifi might be crashing the economy. No, I'm just joking. But the economy probably is crashing anyway. And yeah, it's good to see. I think Nicholas Latifi, you know, one of the nicest drivers. If not, you know, he probably wasn't the best Formula 1 driver the world's ever seen, but you do have to look at it. He still was a Formula 1 driver, and yeah, if you're a Formula 1 driver, you're still at the top 1%, top 0.001% of the world in terms of driving ability, so you've got to hand it to him. Still a fantastic driver overall. All right. As for Alonso, Sainz, or Hulkenberg, who would you choose to earn double points in your F1 Fantasy League? I would choose Carlos Sainz this weekend. I think Carlos Sainz is going to have a good weekend so for this one. Here in Kota. Have you ever thought about working for an F1 team after uni? I have actually. Well, you know, I'm studying engineering here at university, and it would be fantastic to work at a Formula 1 team. However, I do have a few people that I know that do work in Formula 1 teams, and they've all told me that you do have to sign very, very thick NDA contracts once you join a Formula 1 team, and I have a sneaky suspicion that those NDA contracts, unfortunately, would not let me carry on doing this YouTube channel. So, yeah, there's sort of a decision to be made. Do I carry on with the YouTube channel? Do I work in Formula 1? I think for now, I would carry on with the YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay. So 20 minutes remain of this free practice session, and everyone's still out on hard tyres. Carlos Sainz still in the pits, so still got some issues there for Sainz. Not exactly sure what it is, but some things need to be resolved in his car. And Esteban Ocon's car, his brake pedal, also seems like there was some issue, and they're looking into it for him. We've got Hamilton over the radio saying the throttle pedal is really slippery for some reason, which is weird. I haven't really heard that before, but we'll see how it goes. We'll figure that one out. I'm sure Ferrari will as well. Go work in F1 over the YouTube channel. Well, firstly, I've got to get my degree, and I don't know if you guys know, but if you like, let's say I was to apply to a job at Red Bull Racing, right? It would be an application ratio of like 250 to 1. There's 250 people apply, so I can still do the application, and we'll see if I get it or not. But it's a very, very long way away to find out if I actually get that job. But who knows? Maybe they'll really like my YouTube channel and hire me for the marketing or something. Anyway, it must be the water there for Lewis Hamilton that's causing the brake pedal to be slippery. It's pretty standard Ferrari stuff, and yeah. Who knows? We have got, though, 20 minutes left and a few more drivers in the pits. Let's see. Working for a team is intense. It is. From the few people that I do know, they have told me that it is quite long working hours, to be honest. And that is sort of to be expected, really. Yeah. Which engineering? I do mechanical engineering. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have a quick sip of... Actually, I don't need to tell you guys I'm having a quick sip of water. I can just take a sip of water. But yeah. I'm so used to saying that, actually. All right, Bortoletto up into 17th. I suspect folks in the last 10 minutes will get some soft tyre running, but I wouldn't expect too much purely because the teams are always pretty limited in the number of soft tyres that they have for a sprint weekend because you've got to do sprint quali 1, sprint quali 2, sprint quali 3, then then Q1, Q2, Q3. So you've got 6 sets of six qualifying sessions, shall we say, and then you're also using soft tyres in all those quali sessions. So it does pose quite a bit of a problem, really, for these teams, and maybe we won't see soft tyre runs after all. Maybe the top teams won't do it because the top teams, of course, they run the risk of sort of having to attend every single one of those 6 quali sessions. But, if you're Esteban Ocon or if you're Oliver Behrman, it's unlikely that you're going to get through into Q3 each time. So, you might as well take the gamble and use these soft tyres now. All right. Please get a stationary mic. I actually quite like holding the mic, actually. It's quite cool. But yeah, I could probably have something that holds it like up here, but that way it's just not as awesome, really. I think it is awesome. What's Lewis Hamilton doing in P1? I thought he was meant to be lifting and coasting. I think Ferrari are going to do the opposite this weekend and have extra big brake ducts, so it's not a problem for the Ferrari team. So yeah. All right. Vaibhav saying, handsome, I'm intelligent. Oh my god. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Very, very kind of you. F1 Gamer is your channel monetized. It is. You folks can give in donations and stuff like that. But of course, during live streams, no adverts. I do my absolute best to block all of the adverts that YouTube tries to throw at you. So yeah, not all that much ad revenue because there's no adverts to play. Shep the Creator, thanks for the donation, buddy. I pay Sky Sports more than this for worse coverage than yours. Go get yourself something nice. Well, thank you very much, Shep. Very much is appreciated. Maybe I'll be working for Sky Sports one day. Hopefully I can improve their coverage, but no, Sky Sports isn't always the best. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. So we've got this we got this webcam as well. We've got this nice mic, this laptop, and also this backup laptop. So your donations have really helped out, folks. So yeah. And we've also got this fancy light, actually, which you won't be able to see because I can't move the camera, but I do have glasses, and maybe you'll be able to see it in that. Actually, no, you really can't see. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, there you can see. You can see the outline of the Singapore track map. I actually got that from one of the old sponsors. Oh, that was quite convenient, actually. But this is my sort of lighting setup. I've got the Singapore track map lighting me up. All right. You look and sound like Murray Walker. Well, thank you very much. Murray Walker, honestly, one of the best commentators ever. So I've got to say that is a very big compliment indeed. Right. How do you get the F1 data? It's via a thing called Multiviewer, but you do need the full F1 subscription. So that is yeah, that's a bit of a downside, but it's all right at the end of the day. Russell's GPS just flew off. Yeah, Russell's GPS. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with it. But he's dived into the pit lane now, so then maybe they'll get it fixed. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll cause even more issues later on tomorrow and today. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know why it's George Russell though. Every single time there is someone with GPS issues, it's always George Russell. Yeah. What are your thoughts on F1 on Apple TV? Well, F1 on Apple TV, I think starts in 2026. I think it's good for the average American. I think it's gonna increase the viewership of Formula One because I think more people, I think a lot of people have Apple TV in America, and because it just sort of gets included in, it's going to help the sport grow. But then, of course, it might just be like we have a few less American viewers watching the stream because they're getting it on Apple TV Plus. But I think it's a win for the sport overall, and yeah. Right. So as you can see here, folks, everyone diving into the pit lane. I think Behrman, Bortoleto, and Ocon are also on their way to the pits. Actually, never mind. Behrman, I think, is continuing on. But regardless, nearly everyone's in the pit lane now, and with 15 minutes left to go, that does mean most likely that they're coming out on a set of soft tyres with a low fuel load. So, good news. Yeah. We're going to be getting some qualifying sims. Actually, folks, I would like to ask you guys, who do you think is coming out on the top on these qualifying simulations? Yeah. Is the GPS device supplied by the FAA? It is supplied by the FAA. It's the whole transponder unit and everything has to be the same for all of the different teams. So I'm pretty sure it's supplied by the FAA. Okay. Do you want to see Zhou come back? I think Zhou would be a great addition to the sport. Having another driver from China as well, since we do go racing there, would be fantastic. But where's he going to go? That's the age-old question in Formula One. We've got so many fantastic, talented drivers all around the world. Where is he going to slot into that Formula One team? It's quite interesting actually. I was reading up so. A lot of the, you would think at Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso's out-qualified Lance Stroll every single time, and he has been, he's been the quicker driver quite consistently. I think we all really know that. But his pace compared to Stroll is always better, yet Stroll is actually the one that leads the development of the car a lot more, because according to Fernando Alonso and according to Stroll himself, and a few of the engineers and a few of the test drivers at Aston Martin, Lance Stroll is typically a lot more sort of sensitive to the changes in setup on the simulator itself. And Fernando Alonso, he'll be very sensitive to things in real life, but the simulator just doesn't work for him. Maybe that's because, Fernando Alonso didn't grow up with simulators. Maybe it's just because he's old. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I suspect it's because he didn't grow up with simulators. A lot of these younger drivers have grown up with simulators, spent a lot of time in them, so they can really notice these minor differences. But Lance Stroll is actually doing a lot of the development work at Aston Martin because he can get in the simulator, feel, this improves performance ever so slightly, this improves performance a lot, and he's guiding the way for the Aston Martin team to be good in their upgrade packages. But then you could also put the blame on Lance Stroll for Aston Martin's upgrade packages being terrible. So who knows? But currently on the Aston Martin front wing, there's a bunch of formulas written down. I understand most of the formulas due to my engineering degree. But yeah, those are the formulas that they cook up when they need to do some calculations for the engineering stuff. So yeah, we'll see what Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso and Adrian Newey are cooking up for 2026. It could be good. It could be good. Sounds like they should get Stroll in the reserve driver and get someone in the second seat that can actually drive. Yeah, I mean, it is a very important skill to have. Fernando Alonso, I'm sure, would be great in terms of on-track test feedback and, being good at giving the most detailed information when he's actually out on the circuit. But on the simulator, he's not as good compared to Lance Stroll. And when track time is limited by the FIA, say you're only allowed, certain number of kilometers, certain number of minutes out on track, then simulators are really important. That's where the rookies are coming in as well, where they've grown up basically on simulators, and they know all the ins and outs. They can feel a lot of these things. I know if some of you folks have watched the Gran Turismo movie, where the driver in the main character in that movie is sort of saying that he can feel that the brakes are glazed because he's felt it in the simulator before. And that translates over to real life. I think that is becoming more and more important in the world of Formula One. So, it's quite interesting, actually. I had a wheel and pedals and IndyCar 2 and Grand Prix 2 in 1994. It helped me a lot in actual SCCA events. I bet Alonso had sims before he was in F1. Maybe. But of course, there's one aspect of sort of learning the track via a simulator, learning your braking points via a simulator, but then there's a totally different aspect of feeling the minute differences in setup changes and how that affects performance and car handling in a simulator. So I'm sure Alonso did have simulators in the time, but they were, of course, a lot less advanced and not sort of... Their aim was to get the drivers used to the circuit, used to drive around the track, whereas right now the simulators are used for designing upgrade packages and figuring out if they work or not. So it's it's a good point that you raised, though. All right. Alex Albon is looking quite purple here, actually. George Russell is looking more purple here. He's just gone down the back straight. He's got a toe there off Lewis Hamilton. Fastest through the speed traps, 326 kilometers per hour there for George Russell. And purple in the middle sector. Final sector left to go. We'll see what he can do. Okay, 7,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's very much appreciated. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. All the good YouTube stuff. And we got George Russell here now coming through the final two corners. Let's see what he can do. Fernando Alonso gets out of the way nicely, and Russell now coming towards the start-finish line, across the line, and he's 2/10 clear of Lewis Hamilton. Good to see, but also not by the huge margin that I was sort of expecting, really. From the medium tyres to the hard tyres, I would have expected a bigger jump, but only 2/10 there between Russell and Hamilton. So Hamilton did do a very good lap out on those hards. And of course, we don't know the fuel loads as well. So that is another thing. Is the fuel provided, for example, by Petronas important in the F1 car development? It is reasonably important to an extent, but the thing is, the FIA have very strict rules on what type of compounds and chemicals that you can put into the fuel to make it better. So there's not so much that Petronas can really do. They're very much limited in terms of their scope of things, because you can get super rare and exotic chemicals to add into your fuel to get extra performance out of the car. But the FIA basically said, no, there's no point to doing this. Like, nobody's ever using these chemicals in real life, so we're just going to ban them. And All right, Tsunoda up into the top, set of soft tyres for him, 2/10 clear of George Russell, fantastic, but Max Verstappen, oh my god, 0.8 of a second, this is huge, but Fernando Alonso is coming through. Fernando Alonso, purple sector 1, purple sector 2, quickest through the speed traps, 327 kilometers per hour through the speed trap for Fernando Alonso, and let's see what the rookie of the season can do. He comes through turn number 20, the final corner of the lap, and across the line it is a P1 for Fernando Alonso by 9 milliseconds, folks. 9 milliseconds. Hamilton up into third. Piastri takes the quickest middle sector away from him, and Piastri isn't even quickest through the speed traps. Piastri's 5 kilometers per hour slower than Alonso through the speed trap, but he's just so much quicker through 7, 8, 9 and 10 that he makes up all of that time that Alonso gained up with the toe. So yeah, imagine what Piastri could do with a toe. It's probably first position, but for now he settles for third place. 2/10 back from Fernando Alonso, and also 2/10 back from Max Verstappen. Yeah, maybe a glory lap from Fernando Alonso, but it's always good to see Alonso back at the top, and maybe we'll see him actually up at the top in terms of raw speed in 2026. But Aston Martin very, very frequently have been doing glory runs in FP1 sessions and stuff like that. So I wouldn't read into it too much. We'll see what happens in sprint quali in about 3 hours' time. We've got Gabriel Bortoleto up into 5th position there. We have got... where are the Williams drivers? Carlos Sainz still in the pit, so some sort of issues there for Carlos Sainz. Don't know exactly what it is, but he's been in the pit lane for a very long time. Ocon had his brake issues, but he's back out on track. So don't know what's going on there with Sainz, but hopefully that all gets resolved in time for sprint quali. Yeah. Does anyone know if the drivers actually have a GPS map on their wheel display? I don't think so. I don't think the drivers have the GPS map on their wheel display. They do have a sticker of the circuit, normally sort of in their cockpit. So if this is their steering wheel like this, then slightly off to the left-hand side, or maybe slightly off to the right-hand side, they do have a sticker of the map. A sticker of the circuit, but not with the GPS all going around. Norris, he is half a tenth down on Fernando Alonso as he crosses the middle sector line. He's got the final couple of corners left to go now, and looking pretty racy is Lando Norris through turns number 19 and 20. He goes. The McLaren looks pretty stuck to the road, really. Very nice and stable. And he goes up 3 tenths clear of Fernando Alonso. He gained 4 tenths of a second on Alonso in that final sector. Incredible final sector. And what was I saying? The McLarens are so good in the final sector with the overheating tyres that everyone has, but the McLaren's not so much affected by it. And then also the slow speed grip that McLaren have is second to none. And the final sector is really their ballpark. And well, you can see it in the lap times. Hulkenberg is up there in 4th position. Really nice job there from Hulk as well. You know, Sauber tend to do pretty good at these high-speed, top-speed oriented circuits. Of course, we still have quite a few corners around here in Kota, but we'll see how Hulkenberg does. Charles Leclerc's into the pit. He did a lap on medium tyres. We've got 4 minutes left on the clock. I don't think he's going to come out, but we'll see what happens. And Lewis Hamilton, is currently out on the medium tyres with 3 laps left. He's done 3 laps on them. He might be doing another flying lap right now. We'll see how it goes, though. Max, do note Max had 2 yellow mini sectors at the end. He's sandbagging. Maybe he is. I didn't notice. It could have just been a bad exit, but it also could have been Max just braking just before coming across the line. So there are a few different things. And apparently Charles's car has broke down, so he can't go out. I'll get that confirmed, but not a good sign there for Ferrari, to be honest. All right, Antonelli, 19th position, and yeah, I suspect actually that there would be probably some issue with Charles Leclerc's car. He was driving pretty slowly before he came back into the pits, and it was meant to be a flying lap, so it makes reasonable sense, but yeah. Alex Albon up into 6th position. Nice job there from Alex Albon. And now we've got Antonelli also on a flying lap. What is Hulkenberg doing above Piastri? Hulkenberg's just putting in the fantastic lap, really. And Piastri didn't have a nice toe down the middle sector, really. Down the back straight. We did have a look. Lando Norris did have a very slight toe. He also had a little bit more top speed as well. So maybe Norris is running a slightly lower downforce setup. Maybe he just had a bit of a toe. But regardless, you do have to take that into account when he was doing his flying lap. Alonso P2 is crazy. Yeah, I mean, Alonso is just a bit of a madman, really. Just puts out those glory runs like there's no tomorrow. Bags of sands are very cheap in Miami. Well, we're not in Miami. We are in Texas, Austin, Texas, to be exact. All right. Yeah, 1 minute 50 seconds left on the clock. So we'll be getting, I think, the second runs of flying laps coming through as well. So Albon's up in 6th. Carlos Sainz dives into the pits after making a mistake in the middle sector, I think. Yeah, his first sector was good, middle sector bad, and then into the pit lane he went. And yeah, they'll be looking to do some more flying laps, I suspect, with the few minutes that they've got left on the clock. Watch Max now. Yeah. Where are the speed traps? In fact, I will move my face back so you guys can see the speed traps, because there's not too much important team radio going on right now. So, especially at the end of the session, everyone's just saying, "Oh, there's 1 minute 20 seconds left." So we'll keep it like this for now, just so you guys can see the speed traps. And yeah. You can see there, Lando Norris, 8th position, 3:26. Oscar Piastri much further down in 18th position, but he's only 4 kilometers per hour slower. Yeah. Carlos had gearbox issues. Okay, well, there we go. Gearbox issues for Carlos Sainz. I mean, that should be a reasonably easy fix. Tsunoda has a very, very big snap. Nearly loses the car in a very bad way going through the first sector. And we know the Red Bull car is pretty unstable, especially when it comes to the high-speed stuff. And that's where Max Verstappen excels, because he's super smooth on the steering wheel and can balance the car on the limit of grip. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do that consistently for 50, 60 laps straight. So, yeah, Tsunoda made a little mistake there, and they might have to make some changes to make sure that doesn't happen again. Piastri up into second place there on his second flying lap. He goes 3/10 back from his teammate, ahead of Fernando Alonso. But I expect if he had done that lap on a fresh set of tyres, he would have been well within range of Lando Norris. Again, I'd like to point out speed trap speed for Oscar Piastri on that lap, 318 kilometers per hour. So he is 8 kilometers per hour slower than Lando Norris through the speed traps, yet he is only 3/10 back in terms of lap time. So Piastri, maybe he's running a high downforce setup, maybe he's yet to turn up his engine mode, but I suspect qualifying is going to be quite close between the two McLaren drivers. Max Verstappen looks a little bit way off, but maybe he was sandbagging out of the final corner, maybe he just got a bad exit, who knows, but we shall see what happens. Yeah. Oh, don't know how that happened. We've got Hulkenberg purple in the middle sector. Incredible. And yeah, just a few more corners left there for Nico Hulkenberg. Through turn number 18 he goes. And he's actually up on Lando Norris this time. Wait, Nico Hulkenberg is up on Lando Norris this time. If he can hold it together in the final sector, which I suspect the Sauber's final sector isn't going to be as strong as the McLaren's. But it does put him a quarter of a second back. Incredible from Hulkenberg. He splits the McLarens, and you've got to take into account that this was a used set of tyres for Nico Hulkenberg, and Piastri also had the same used set of tyres. So is this what Nico Hulkenberg is just doing an incredible job. I can't even quite comprehend what he's just done, but Nico Hulkenberg's fantastic. I think someone asked me earlier on who I should give double points to. Is it Carlos Sainz or is it Nico Hulkenberg? I said Carlos Sainz. Looks at like I may have made the wrong prediction there, because Hulkenberg's up there in second place. Wow. Yeah, the Astons are out on the hards to scrub their tyres again. Well, Alonso is at least. I think Stroll will be coming out soon as well. Actually, there's no time left on the clock, so Stroll will not be scrubbing his tyres. But Alonso is out to scrub his tyres. And yeah, does the FP1 lap times mean anything? Probably not. To be honest, we've got qualifying, as you can see there at the top right of the screen. Right at the top of the screen. 2 hours and 57 minutes till we get live for sprint qualifying. So, yeah, the stream will be live then. Well, I'll be live half an hour before that, so in 2 hours and 27 minutes. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys have enjoyed the coverage. I'll quickly read out the standings. So we got Lando Norris first position, Hulkenberg second, Piastri third, Alonso fourth, Verstappen fifth, Albon is 6th, Russell 7th, Hamilton 8th, Hadjar 9th, Behrman, Ocon 10th and 11th, Bortoletto 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Stroll 14th, Lawson 15th, Colapinto, Gasly 16th, 17th. Then we've got Antonelli 18th, Carlos Sainz with gearbox issues in 19th, and Charles Leclerc with engine issues or car issues in 20th. So that is FP1, folks, and this is a sprint weekend, so we do have sprint qualifying happening in 2 hours and 56 minutes or whatever it is, and yeah, hope you guys should tune in for that. It should be pretty good, and I think that is all, folks. That is all. FP1 has ended. All the drivers just doing their practice starts, getting the clutch settings dialed in for their steering wheels for tomorrow's sprint race. But that is all. So I'm going to end the stream now, take you over to the sprint race stream. If you could just hit the like button and also the reminder button as well. Just those two things go a long way to helping out the channel and the algorithm. So I shall see you in a few hours for sprint quali. Okie dokes. Bye-bye, folks.